So my name's Matt Dooley, and I have been a member here at KOR4 since the opening of the Mount Pleasant location, so just about a year. I initially moved here, I would say about a year and a half ago. I was just really looking for a gym, shopping around a little bit, and I was looking for a place that really, had a system in place, had a good foundation, but more importantly, had a community. And initially when I had came across KOR4, I did an intro class, and I felt like I KOR4 achieved that and more. And yeah, I remember I did a intro class over at the West Ashley location, and I was hooked right away. I remember I believe the workout was like a hybrid class. It was like half on the tread and then half on the rig. And I remember getting off the tread, I was like, wow, that was a good sweat, but you still have half the workout still left. And I remember I looked up on the screen and it was like heavy cleans, and I was like, oh yeah, that's it, I'm sold. I walked out, went to the front desk and was like, hey, just give me the unlimited and I'll see you tomorrow. And it was a wrap. So initially when I was, just shopping for gyms, I wanted to really focus on my mental health as well as my physical health. I personally felt like I might have, took a step back in that aspect. And then, when I signed up here, kind of a few months went into a routine and kind of got a system in place. And then, I remember I stepped on the scale one day and I was like, wow, that's not okay. That's not good. And then month to month, I stepped on the scale again. It was like, wow, you lost 4 pounds, 10 pounds. And then initially it got down to 40. And it was crazy to me because that was never just the goal, but it's kind of the outcome that you get when you show up every day. So yeah, and then just, from, outside of the weight loss journey, having the ability to go to Run Club and keep up with some really fit people, has been, little milestones that have, I've noticed. So my favorite combo, I guess, is trying to come in super early and do the 6:15 fire class and then rolling straight into the force class. For me, it's a good, you come in here, it's warm, you kind of heat up, and then, you go into the force class and you can really push yourself. You're already kind of warm, so that's been my go-to so far. Oh man, so yeah, all my buddies, they've been so supportive of just, everyday life, and they've always made slight comments under their breath, trying to gaslight me up, saying, man, you look good, what are you doing? And, obviously it's just, I've always say KOR4, and it's been a known thing. They're always popping in and out, trying to share a drop-in pass with them. And for me, it's not even having to sell them on it. It's just hey, just show up. That's all you have to do. The people in here are some of the greatest people. Everyone's supportive. You don't have to think. That's the thing. You just roll out of bed, you walk in, and whatever's going to be on the screen, it's going to be a good workout. And if you can't do something, if your back hurts, the coaches always have, something else to do for it, right? Anything is scalable. So my biggest piece of advice, right, when trying to recommend people to come here is just to show up. That's all it takes. I'll say honestly, one of my favorite parts, I will say that really is different from anything else I tried, is the consistency, I would say, from the feeling I get after a workout. You'll go into a typical CrossFit gym as an example, and it's you'll have a 15-minute WOD, right? And you could be done with that workout probably in 6 minutes, right? And it could be the worst 6 minutes of your life. And here, the way that, it's kind of laid out, the foundation, the system that they have is you have typically 3 blocks. One block could be the worst thing that you ever done, it's terrible, right? And then, you get done with it, that's 15 minutes, no matter how quick you finish it, but you still have 2 more blocks. And for me, I remember when I had walked in here and it was you sell your soul, the person next to you is fighting the same demons, you stop and then realize that you have 2 more sessions of that, right? So no matter what, at the end of the day, even if there's a block that's not as bad as yesterday, I know I'm gonna leave there and feel that was 100% worth it. I got out of bed for that, and that's exactly what I was looking for. So, yeah, I remember Chad made a comment one time. I took my shirt off and he was like, man, like you look good. He's like, we got to get you on the member spotlight. And I was like, man, that'd be sick. It's super humbling too, by the way, because like, you know, you look around and there's so many other people here that are just some of the fittest people. And for me to like have the opportunity just to sit here in front of a camera and like speak a little bit about my progress has been, it's been humbling for sure.